I've been living happy for almost a year now. I first heard about Abraham about 9 years ago, and I finally got it. I think when Esther first talked about staying on the high-flying disc and getting up and doing it, staying there and not falling off, and that really
which was the discussion before Wobble Free,
yeah.
which is about finding something that feels good, and because there's no resistance, it just feels better and better and better and better and better. In other words, that high-flying disc is what happens when you're not continually introducing resistance that keeps you from moving upward. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started off gradually, and then to build up momentum, and now I'm really living happy 90% of the time, if not 100% every day. And there's always something that I find delightful. And, you know, a relationship that was, you might say, very adventuresome has wobbled away, vibrated away. And in the process of that, I remember years ago thinking, how can you focus on what you love about someone when there's so many things that are challenging going on? But
Practice.
I realize it is, and that it's not.
And selfishly caring about how you feel enough to discover that it has to be unconditional, because no one, no matter how much they care about you, can meet the criteria of your conditions. You just can't put your alignment power in their ability to be the way you need them to be in order to feel good. No one should put that kind of pressure on anybody.
I think the biggest thing for me is that social consciousness tells us to think about all the things that go wrong, and then that's a reason for leaving. But if you focus on the love, it's so much more rewarding, and it's not.
And why? Because if you're focused on the love, you're in concert with who you are. And when you're in concert with who you are, you have clear view. And you have a vibration that's dominant, and you will attract to yourself exactly what you want. In other words, your grid, that's what we were calling this vibrational atmosphere that you're creating, it fills in with what you are vibrationally accomplishing. So let's say you have a relationship with someone who has many characteristics, some of which you really adore and some of them you don't, not so much. But you're not basing the way you feel in this moment in time, or this one, or this one, or this one, based upon the pros and the cons of something. You're basing the way you feel on your desire to feel good, and your practiced tuning yourself to thoughts on all kinds of subjects that do feel good. So you've got a frequency going on that is about alignment with who you really are. So you are most of the time in perfect alignment with that broader part of you. So who you really are is having this conversation. Who you really are is thinking about this person. Who you really are is focused here. Who you really are, meaning the whole of who you are. You're not using them as the excuse not to be the whole of who you are. And hear this matters. You're also not using them as the excuse to be the whole of who you are. You hear that? Somebody the other day was talking about, oh, he loves to go to the top of this mountain, and it's so breathtaking and so lovely, and it tunes him in so well, and we say, that's a lovely thing. We want you to go there often. But don't make your alignment conditional on being on the top of the mountain, because when you're in a valley, then you're not going to feel so good. In other words, let your alignment come first, and your inspiration to go wherever you go to come next. So here's this person who has many characteristics, and you've tuned yourself because you care about feeling good. So you've tuned yourself consistently to feeling good, and so you are consistently, not just on the subject of relationship, but on the subject of everything that's important to you. So now you are viewing this person through this aligned, you've come home, it's the whole of who you are, and now it's logical that those aspects that are in perfect vibrational alignment with that appreciation you feel would be the bedrock, the basis of your relationship. It just has to be that way. Yeah.
So now, as I go through my days, wonderful little things happen all the time. Like I'll be walking in the woods, and I had a thought, oh, it'd be nice to take a picture of myself with my dog. She's 15 and we're walking in the woods, and then 3 minutes later someone stops and they're a tourist, and there's always locals there, no tourists in this area. And they say, oh, can you take a picture of us? And, oh, let me take a picture of you with your dog. Within 3 minutes, just having an interest,
so
and then it shows up.
That's what we mean about the thoughts turning to things. That's what we mean about the path unfolding beneath your feet. That's what we mean about the universal evidence of where you are. So it's interesting, isn't it, that the thought occurred to you. Now, where did that come from? Was that a source thought that you were in alignment with? Did source know in advance that those people were around the corner? Yeah. In other words, this is what we're talking about. This vortex version, with all of the compatible cooperative components all aligned, and you not doing anything to keep yourself out of that. Now, the path unfolds. So it begins to feel like you don't have to go after anything. Everything you want is coming to you, because this is law of attraction. This isn't law of assertion or law of wrestling it to the ground and killing it, or law of making it happen, or law of determination, or law of efforting it into place, or law. This is law of attraction. This is law of allowing. This is accomplished in a vibrational frequency that allows you to move inspirationally through life in order to rendezvous. Oh, we love these words coming together. Law of attraction, momentum, trajectory, rendezvous. Ooh, law of attraction is the master of rendezvous. The question is, are you the allower of rendezvous? You see. You can tell by the way you feel. Really good.
So I was thinking that it'd be fun to have more people to play with at this level, because I walk around smiling all the time, and people look at me, and a lot of people who know me are happy.
A little conditional, don't you think? Is that conditional? Well, it might be and it might not be, but does it feel a little conditional? Depends on, in other words, if you're really enjoying what's going on, then it's just natural that it keeps going. You get on those kind of rolls, don't you?
Yeah.
Haven't you noticed that? The better it gets, till it just feels like you're the center of the universe, and you really are, because in every moment, there are 20 or 30 or 40 viable next steps on your path, and if you have shown yourself that it's only the next step that matters anyway, because you're not going to make a quantum leap into that condition that you think you need. It's just the next step, the next step, the next step. Then, oh, isn't it fun? The next step and the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. Isn't that what life is about all day, every day? This step, now. The universe is just surprising and delighting me. And there's all these setups. I get to have the thought in advance about something that's coming, and when it comes, I knew it was coming, which just confirms my vibrational alignment, which is everything that I'm wanting. Does it get any better than that? Yes, constantly. More and more and more and more and more. The momentum is faster. The rendezvous are more precise. The rendezvous satisfy more intentions of what's in your vortex. There's more exhilaration as you're having the interchanges. In other words,
So I've been asking myself almost daily, what can I do to keep my vibration at the highest level possible?
Now there's a little resistance in that too, isn't there? How can I stay here? How can I not lose this?
But it doesn't feel like resistance to me.
Well, we're
nitpicking
like a little bit, but think about it. What can I do to not slip away from this? There's just a little bit of guardedness in there, isn't there? Just a little bit. Can you say that better?
I actually say, what would it take? But I kind of turn it over.
That's really conditional. Can you say it better? I'm digging this. I love the way the path is unfolding for me. Feels like it's a never-ending thing. Just everything is always working out for me. I've got this. can you feel the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We are really fine-tuning here.
Mm-hmm.
We are fine-tuning. But then that is your work. Look at you. Look how well you are doing. Look how much of your world is really, really wonderful. And acknowledge that you are fine-tuning, you see.
Mm-hmm.
But you're fine-tuning, fine-tuning to be joyful in every moment of life. It's really worth it, you see. Not just happy on vacation. Oh, yeah. Why are you so happy? I'm going on vacation. How much vacation do you get? 1 week a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually happy the week before and much of the week during. But halfway through the week, I start noticing that it's almost over. And I start thinking, how can I prolong this vacation? We're just playing with you just a little bit.
Okay. So the other question I asked, what can I give? And that was inspired after listening to Greg Braden at a Hay House talk about this global shift in consciousness. And in 3 days after that...
You know what you have to give, and the only thing that you have to give?
Uh-huh.
The only thing that you have to give is your alignment.
Yeah.
And so many people are so convinced of the need for service/sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
that they deprive themselves of the alignment, which is true irony, because their alignment is the only thing they have to give. Oh, once you're aligned, all kinds of inspiration to give will come. I mean,
right.
that you'll just rendezvous with all kinds of opportunities to just dance in and out of somebody's experience. And sometimes you give them a little clarity, sometimes you give them a little joy, sometimes it's just an exchange. Sometimes you give them a big old wad of money. In other words, but the opportunities just keep revealing themselves to you. There are people who are ready and willing and wanting to play with you at every level of your being. You just have to decide what level of your being, from which level of your being do you want to play, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
So I am already in that kind of alignment because things like that are happening all the time. Yeah. And over a period of 3 days, I kind of downloaded a whole idea about how to share these concepts with people at the grassroots level across the world. And it's called the Getting Happy Experiment. And if anyone looking for people who want to play with me worldwide, leaders who are already living happy, who want to share their understanding and inspiration with others.
Well, there is a happiness movement, isn't there? There is indeed.
And
Farrell.
If anyone's interested, gettinghappyusa@gmail.com, and it's going to take off from there. But the idea is
now that's
to share
efforting. You see, this is efforting.
Mm-hmm.
This is not law of attraction. This is law of advertisement. That's efforting. That's efforting.
It just
Can you
seemed
feel the
like
difference? Can you feel the difference?
It seemed like the path of least resistance to share in a way with people who are like-minded, in a way that are joyful and want to share.
We don't disagree with you about that, but we want you to trust law of attraction. We want you to trust your vibrational stance. Yeah. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.